Good afternoon, everyone. This is Takima, and this is the first edition of Tea Chats. I'm actually not drinking tea today. I am drinking my wonderful spinach and kale, banana, strawberry, and blueberry with a dash of honey and cinnamon green juice. So this is so good. It's cool because it's warm out today, so I'm drinking something cool. I'm not drinking tea, but if you are drinking tea, drink up with me and let's get into it. So today, I wanted to talk about mothers and daughters, even though I know that Mother's Day was yesterday. By the way, mine was amazing because I got to stay home and I rested and I slept and I didn't do anything. And I just spent time with my daughter, who's quite a character. So I really enjoyed that. So I said, even though I didn't do the video yesterday, it still is a good day to talk to you all and kick off this series. Also too, this is a precursor to my book, which will be coming out in June. I'm really, really excited, and I hope you all support and buy, and we'll just go from there. So today, like I said, we're talking about mothers and daughters, and I had hoped to actually do this first installation of Tea Chats with my birth mom, but our schedules didn't actually connect, so we couldn't do the video yesterday. So I decided that I would just do it and just kind of do it as an introduction, and then when I get with her, we'll do another one where it's both of us together. So basically, what I wanted to talk a little bit about was the mother-daughter relationship and how important it is to constantly work on that relationship. And one of the things that's unique about the relationship with my mom and myself, my birth mom and myself, because if you don't know, I was adopted at the age of 6 by my adopted mother, who is an amazing woman. I love her so much. Oh my gosh, I love that lady. But when I was 19, I left my adopted mom, and I actually was on my own. So I started to develop a relationship with my birth mom, but it was a little weird at first because the reason why I went into foster care in the first place and was adopted was because my birth mom was a drug addict. And it was really hard for me to understand, obviously, as a child. And as I got older, I built up so much hate for her, so much resentment, so much unforgiveness that, it was really hard to have a relationship with her. It was really hard to want to have a relationship with her, to be completely honest. And so we struggled a lot. And after I had my daughter, I was 28 at the time when I had my daughter, and my mom was really excited. My birth mom, she was really excited about it, and she really wanted to just be there for me, be there for my daughter, and I was open to it, but at the same time, I saw myself getting angry again at her, and angry again at the fact that she wanted to be in my daughter's life and take on this new grandmother role. And I was just like, wait a minute, pump your brakes. First of all, you're not her mother, I am. Secondly, you're not gonna come and be super grandma, and you couldn't even be a super mom, and that's how I felt initially. So with my daughter being born, it brought up a lot of issues for me that I didn't realize that I even had, because prior to my daughter being born, we would talk, and we would, sometimes we would hang out, and we would, do things together, and I didn't realize that I literally still had hate and unforgiveness in my heart towards her. Sometimes it would come out in how I treated her, which wasn't very nice all the time. So it was definitely a struggle, but when my daughter was born, it really showed, and I was just like, whoa. I did not realize that I had such animosity toward her. So fast forward to now, We're still working on our relationship. You know, I'm still working on a couple of things, but I can honestly say that I don't have any hate or harbor any unforgiveness towards her. There are times when I would want to revert back because there are certain things that she does that, you know, and I tell her all the time, like, you know, if she does something or says something that I don't like, I immediately tell her. Before, it would be a situation of like, well, she's acting like that or she said that, and then I'm not going to talk to her, and da 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 da, and I wouldn't talk to her for a week, and then I'll call her whenever I felt like it, you know, and if she was upset or, you know, sad that I didn't call her, I didn't really care. I was just like, whatever, you made me upset, so I don't want to talk to you. Now I don't do that. So basically, this conversation today is just for one, to encourage you, and two, just to give you some tips and some advice on, you know, building a relationship with your mom. So the initial title of this conversation was My RAD Mom, and RAD stands for Relationship After Differences. And one of the things that I noticed, especially in research and understanding the dynamics of a mother-daughter relationship, usually if you're a firstborn daughter to your mom, your relationship is kind of like the hugest roller coaster ever. You know, sometimes you love them to death and you're just like, they're so amazing. And then there are other times where you're like, I hate you, you're annoying, you know, you suck, whatever, you know, because I mean, I know I'm not the only one. Please tell me I'm not the only one. I need you to know that I'm not the only one that thinks like this. But yeah, so we go through complete differences. But for me, my RAD mom, for me, stands for relationship after drugs. So, so like I said in the beginning, I was 6 years old when I went into foster care, and I was raised, you know, like I said, by my amazing adoptive mother. I just love that lady. Anyway, so yeah, so I was raised by her, and my mom, she, actually, we would have like visitation and stuff like that, periodically, and my mom would either not show up to the visits, she would come late, and she would tell me that I was going home, and I would get excited and happy, but then I wouldn't. So my mom would lie to me, essentially. And I was 6 years old at the time. Well, between 6 and 7. And it was frustrating. It was very frustrating on me. It was frustrating. It was completely frustrating on my adopted mother because, you know, she had to deal with a crying 6-year-old from downtown Manhattan to uptown, the Bronx, South Bronx. And can you imagine a 6-year-old? I mean, my daughter is 3, and when she acts up on the train, I just want to pull all of my, like, all these little things. I just want to pull them all out one by one. So, you know, I can imagine that being really frustrating for her. So, you know, my mom, she would tell me these things, and I'm just like, these things are not true. So as I got older, I remember the first time I saw her again after not being able to see her from the age of 6. I was 16, I want to say, when I first saw my mom again. And it was surreal. It was surreal because I had always thought about seeing her. I always thought about, you know, what it would be like, what I would feel like, you know, any questions I would have. And I remember going to her house and visiting her, and she just started crying. And my mother, her middle name is Kleenex because she is constantly crying, like all the time. Like I tell her that all the time. Like every time I always laugh with me and my brother. Like, me and my brother are like twins. It's ridiculous. We're so close. And I said, you know, every time you get mom a gift, make sure you add Kleenex to it because she will cry. You know, she cries for everything. So, she cried, you know, and she was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you, da da da. So we talked, and, you know, it was really just good just seeing her, you know. But I remember feeling like, wow, I'm in front of this woman who would lie to me when I was a child, you know. So it was kind of hard to be happy because at the same time I was like, who are you again, you know? So as we started to, you know, call each other more and speak to each other more, I was excited because, excuse me, I was excited because I was getting to develop a relationship with her. But at the same time, the more I got to know her, the more I started to feel like I don't really like you that much. And it was hard. Um, I remember actually at one point we were having I had stayed at her house for a holiday. I think it was Christmas. And I think I was like 20 or 21. And I stayed at her house. And she had went out. And I used to hate when she went to the bar. Like I hated it so much. Um, and because I felt like it was trouble for her, but she's grown. What am I gonna say? Don't go to the bar. She's like, okay, I won't. No. So so she went to the bar, and she came back to the house, and she was so drunk. And I tell her this story all the time sometimes, and she's like, yeah, I don't drink like that no more. But so she went to the bar, she came back home, and she was so drunk. Like, I remember feeling like, this is why I don't like you. Because she was so sloppy and it was just bad. For me, it was bad, and I don't know how I felt for her, but for me, I was embarrassed. I was hurt. I was angry. And I was like, I could have spent my holiday with my other family. I didn't say that to her. I said it to myself. And, but I just remember being so angry with her. And, at that point, I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with this woman, because this is not me. This is not who I was raised to be. And for this person to have given birth to me, and for me to be a young woman and feeling like this is a part of who I am, I don't want anything to do with that. And I remember, I believe after that, I didn't speak to her for like months. And she would call me. I would ignore her phone calls, and I wouldn't want to talk to her and things like that, because I was like, she's a mess. And then I was convinced that she was still using drugs, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with you. So I think almost a year after that, we talked, and I told her how I felt. I was like, I didn't like that time when you were really drunk, and I don't know why you have to, smoke cigarettes, and I don't know why you have to drink. And, I have to admit, I was a little judgmental, because I didn't really understand. But I remember saying, if you want to have a relationship with me, you can't do those things. And she was just like, I try and all this stuff. But the daughter, was like, listen, you want a relationship with me. You know what I mean? If you want to be in a relationship with me, this is what you got to do. Like, putting ultimatums on her. So not cool. So, then fast forward again. I had to be about 23, 24. Actually, I think I was 23, and I was going away to school. Oh, wait. Yeah, I had to be like between 22 and 23. And I was going away to school, and I remember, leaving and going away and things like that. And I was away at school. I went to school in Plattsburgh, which is crazy. But I graduated in 2007, and she came to my graduation. And I remember feeling like, wow, like, as much stuff as we have like literally gone through, this woman came from New York City in the freezing cold on her birthday to my graduation in Plattsburgh, and it's 0 degrees, like literally was 0 degrees. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's what mothers do, And, my adopted mom couldn't come. I forgot why, but she couldn't come. And I knew that she would have been there as well. But the fact that my birth mom was there, was awesome to me, because it showed me that, in spite of how I had treated her, and in spite of all the things that we had been through, she still made an effort to be a part of something so monumental in my life. And in that moment, I realized, like, wow, I maybe it's not her that needs to change. Maybe it's me that needs to change. So, so she came to the graduation. We took pictures. It was really, really awesome. It was a really, really amazing experience. Um, so we had that. She came to the graduation, and then I remember, oh, I didn't have anywhere to go back to when I graduated. So she made it so that I would be able to stay with her and her partner. Um, so I lived with her for 5 months, and those 5 months were very serious. Um, the first month it was okay. The second month, I was just like, what the heck? By the third month, I was like, I have to get out of here. And it was interesting because she would, want to talk to me, and I didn't want to talk to her. She would want to ask me questions. I didn't want to speak. She would like do things for me. I remember she bought me a doll, and I looked at that doll, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" And I don't know where all this anger came from. Mind you, I had nowhere else to go. I was in her house at this point, and I was mad at her. Really? And she bought me a doll, and I said, "Thank you. What am I supposed to do with this?" She was like, well, I never got you one when you were a child. I was like, oh, okay. And I remember feeling furious. I don't even know what I did with the doll, actually. I'm gonna be honest. But I remember feeling like, if you cared that much to get me a doll when I was a child, you should have got it then. And you should have gave it to me then. How about I should have lived with you then? And that's honest. That's exactly how I felt. So during that 5 months, so I think about around, I was looking for a job and all that stuff, and looking for a place to stay and stuff. And in the midst of that, I had wrote a letter to her. I didn't mail it. I didn't give it to her or anything like that, but I poured out everything I felt about her. Everything that I experienced inside, I put it in that letter. And it came out, it was really vicious. It was a really vicious letter. It was really hard to write, but it was what I needed to do. And I remember having a conversation with my brother about it, and I remember telling him, I don't really like being there, and he was just like, you have to do what you have to do. He said, but you don't what did he say? He said, this is your process that you have to go through, but you cannot stay in this place. And I was just like, oh God, whatever. You're not on my side, you're on her side. He was like, it's not taking sides. He said, I can't tell you how to feel. I mean, we used to get into arguments about me talking about how I feel about her and stuff, because my brother loves, when I tell you he loves her, he loves her. So it was hard for him to always hear about me saying negative things, but then he got to a place where he was like, you know what, these are your feelings, and I can't tell you how to feel. All I can tell you is feel how you feel, but don't stay there, because at the end of the day, that's still your mother. And as hard as it was for me to hear that, I was just like, whatever, but it was the truth. So eventually I got a job. I started working, and I was working at a shelter. And then after I worked at the shelter, I worked for an organization where I dealt with people dealing with illness, and also mental health, and also substance abuse. Now though that combination was crazy because I was just like, this is a lot. But I know that was God ordained, because the clients that I had were dealing with serious, serious mental substance abuse issues. And I remember this one woman that I met. She talked about her daughter and having a child, and being addicted to drugs. And I remember crying that day after that lady left my office. I cried in the bathroom because I saw my mom. I saw my birth mom, and you know it's crazy because I'm tearing up now. But I saw my birth mom, and I saw that, and I started to learn that having a drug addiction is not an easy thing to just get over. It's not an easy thing to deal with. And then having a drug addiction and having children and having your children snatched away from you because you are incapable of taking care of them, because this addiction is literally taking over you, that is a hard thing to deal with. And then having your child or children come back into your life and hate you because of something that you honestly could not control is death on earth. And I thank God for that job. I thank God for being there. And I worked at that job for about 5 years. And the lesson that I learned, and it was in working in that job that I realized that I had to change. And I had to change how I felt about my mom, because I know that she had a problem, but it was a problem that she couldn't fix on her own. And it was a process, and it's always going to be a process. It's always going to be something that she has to deal with. And it's always going to be something that she has to deal with in knowing that she didn't raise her own children. I have a daughter now, and I can't imagine anyone else raising her. I could not imagine, even though, when she goes with her family, my family and stuff, and her uncle, she loves them. And, sometimes I appreciate the break. I love the breaks. But when she comes back, I feel complete. I feel whole, And to know that my mom didn't raise us, and then to see us grown with our own families and own children, it must hurt her every day. So I share that story for a couple of reasons. One is, if you're a daughter and your mom was on drugs and you're struggling in building a relationship with her because you want to know why she chose drugs over you, or whatever, or not whatever, and you're struggling with understanding what made her do drugs, I encourage you to have a conversation with her. Have that open, honest, candid conversation. Mom, why? What made you do drugs? Or not even what made you do drugs. What made you not stop? Or not even what made you not stop. What is it that you felt you couldn't handle that you had to turn there? Those conversations are necessary. And I would encourage you to be honest about how you feel about your mom. As bad as it may hurt her at the moment, it will help both of you. I know it bothered my mom. I know it hurt her when I told her how I felt. But the breakthrough that happened afterward was amazing. She was able to be really honest with me about her drug use, and I was able to be honest with her about how badly it affected me, and my relationships with other women. So I would just encourage you to have a conversation with your mom, open, honest, and candid. The second thing is, if you feel unforgiveness about your mom not raising you or being a drug addict, I encourage you to release that. Because especially if your mom is still here, release it. Because drugs has taken out so many people. And just in general, it has taken out so many people. And just life has taken out so many people. Imagine how many people are living this life without their mothers right now. And if they could have a moment to speak to their moms or talk to their moms or hug their mothers, they would. And you're not, because you're holding on to something that could not be controlled. Forgive them. Forgive her. Because at the end of the day, you are a part of her. You are her child. She carried you. She had you. She carried you. She may not have been able to take care of you, but it wasn't her fault. Her choices may have been her fault, but the fact that the addiction got her is not her fault, and not being able to get off is not her fault. And I'm sure that she tried as hard as she could to get off. So I encourage you to forgive her, and I encourage you to pray about it too. Even if you don't believe in God at the time, I'll bring you to Jesus. I'm just saying. But pray, and just say, God, please help me to forgive. Sorry. It's not an easy process. Trust me, I know. And that's a whole nother story. But ask him to help you to forgive. One of the first steps in forgiveness is understanding why you need to forgive. And I'm going to give you a one why. One why is that because it won't hurt you anymore when you forgive. It won't hurt you. I'm not guaranteeing that you won't be hurt by her or anyone, but that situation won't hurt you. That situation won't hurt you. The third thing is having a mother-daughter relationship is so beautiful. I think about my daughter, and even yesterday, this was so funny. We were at the Chinese restaurant, and we were waiting for our food, and I was doing something, I think, on Facebook, or I don't know what I was doing. I was on my phone. That's the bottom line. 3 years old. She's like, Mommy, put your phone down. I want to talk to you. Oh, you say put my phone down, baby. You got it. That is awesome. For my daughter to want to talk to me, I'll listen. Everybody will be cut off. When Victoria says, Mommy, I need you. Mommy, I want to talk to you. Mommy, whatever. I'm there. I am there. You have my full, undivided attention. That feels so good in here. Imagine how it would make your mom feel. Regardless of what she's done. Regardless of the differences that you have. And I'm speaking, now I'm speaking to whatever differences you may have. She may have, washed your clothes and bleached them. I mean, that has happened. My adoptive mother has bleached a lot of stuff. But are you going to hold that against her? No. Let it go. Not saying that it's easy. Because trust me, like I said, it's a whole nother video talking about the whole forgiveness process. But make a step to do that, And then the last thing is start small. I'm not saying to have a whole big relationship and, now you guys are going to dinner and doing this and doing that. Start small. Put her in your calendar to have a conversation with her every week for 15 minutes. Hey, Mom, how you doing? How's this going? How's that going? Da-da-da-da-da. And start small. And it'll snowball into something bigger and something bigger and something bigger until you realize that, you guys become each other's lifeblood, It wasn't easy, and it's still not easy sometimes. Sometimes I still get in that little funk, but then I check myself, okay, where's that coming from, Takima? What's triggering you? And I deal with it myself, and then I go back to, because it'll creep back, because she'll say things or do things, and you'll just be like, ugh. But at the end of the day, you need your mom. Every daughter needs her mom. Even for, daughters who have mothers who have passed on. I know that sometimes it gets hurtful and stuff, but when you are healed from the inside out, it doesn't hurt. But you can appreciate all the great times you had with your mother, and those are the things that nobody can take away from you. So I hope you enjoyed our chat. I didn't even sip the entire time. I was so focused on you. But I hope you enjoyed this afternoon chat. Please be sure to check out my website, www.takimahouse.wordpress.com, for my blog. I will be posting a new blog for the month of May today, between today and tomorrow. So hopefully it'll be out today, but if not tomorrow, definitely. Check me out this Wednesday on Single Mom Sage with Jennifer Pink. I will be posting that link also. My book is coming out in June. Check out the website, thepursuitofselfbook.com, www.thepursuitofselfbook.com, and pre-order today. and you will get your copy. I will also autograph it. How cool is that? I'm just saying. And thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Please share, like, and comment on this video if it has helped you, if it has inspired you. That's what I want to do. That's what I live to do. That's what I've been called to do. That's what I'm purposed to do. And until then, I will see you next time for Tea Chat. Have a great day.